doing a film like ORA really needs a certain kind of context. I was given a residency at the National Film Board of Canada, and that residency meant that I had a kind of an open bar. You know, I was given the opportunity to do a film which from my perspective had to be a film that could not be done anywhere else but at the Film Board. What does that mean? It means that the Film Board offers a context where you tie into a tradition of experimentation, exploration, almost fundamental research. And the development of the project happens in a number of steps. We had close to a year of research and testing. And we have the luxury of going down a few blind alleys, you know, backing up and going in another direction. And that's a great luxury because you don't chance upon some of the things that we discovered in ORA without, you know, trying stuff that doesn't work so well and so on. So that's a great advantage about working at the Film Board. My rough material is dancers, and that means the story that's being told is being told with movement, with the body, and no language. So already we're talking about a film that's closer to painting, where what is being expressed with shapes and forms and qualities of light and qualities of color and variants of sound and music. And the story, the narrative behind this concept is not something that I wrote at the beginning and then decided, hey, honey, here's a story I want to turn into a film, let's do it. I had a much more nebulous idea of where I was going. And my relationship with my producer, which is one that I've had for several years now, we've done several films together, is one where we work very much intuitively. So the initial concept, as vague as it may seem, also gives us a lot of liberty. We have a sense of the film, we have the horizon, and then we know that we're going to reach that horizon by trying a lot of things out, trial and error, and chancing on things and saying, hey, look, that works, or this works, or hey, what if I rented an infrared camera? What do you think? Okay, let's try it. And then we rent the infrared camera, standard definition, low definition, and say, whoa, there's something going on here, but is there such a thing as a high definition camera? I don't know, what do you think? There must be. Well, we inquire and discover that there is, but we can't get our hands on it because the U.S. military has it under tight wrap. So we did some initial tests with the low resolution infrared cameras, and the images that came out of those tests contributed to help us tell the story. In a nutshell, what I'm trying to express here is that it's not a chicken or egg, it's the chicken and the egg. The tools that we use to tell the story feed into how the story is told, and the story leads to choosing the right tools to tell the story. It goes back and forth constantly. The story of the film really is based on a quote by Paul Gauguin, which is, where do we come from, who are we, and where are we going? So those are three fundamental questions that all of us have asked ourselves at one point in our life, and none of us have found all the answers yet, I'm sure. So immediately, that is, I think, the basis to create a story that people are going to connect with. The discovery of the camera and the infrared enabled me to answer a question that I posed for myself, which is the following question. When you decide to work with dancers, you always have to ask yourself, well, where are the dancers going to be? What are they going to be doing? And what is the nature of the space that they're going to be working in? Okay, and that's a really fundamental question. Most dancers will dance on a stage or they'll dance on a set. I didn't want either one of those things. I knew that my camera is going to be capturing only the body heat. The only thing that we see is their body heat. So what we're seeing is their life force. We're seeing the life inside the body. That's what we see. I said, well, what does that look like out of focus? Well, oddly enough, what it looks like out of focus is a bunch of cells. Oh, well, that's an interesting beginning for a story. When I look at myself in that mirror that's right there, I'm looking at the light bounced off me onto that mirror and back into my eyes. And I asked myself, well, what does that with heat? And what we discovered is that metal does that with heat. We discovered that aluminum does it better than any other material. So we built our sets with aluminum. So at one point I said, well, what would it look like if we used some of this aluminum insulation paper you get in Quebec, which is paper on one side and aluminum on the other, and scrunch it up. So we made tests, and all of a sudden we realized, hey, that looks like rock. So that led to the second chapter in the story. And then when we discovered that aluminum worked like a mirror, I said to myself, well, mirror against mirror gives infinite. So why don't we build a set which would be 60 feet long by 36 feet wide, and then create a ceiling which is 60 feet long by 36 feet wide, and then have the dancers dance in between. And that's what we did, because the only thing that is reflected on those aluminum surfaces is their heat. So we were able to exploit the opportunities that a mirror gives you, but it doesn't reflect anything else but the heat of the body. So that's also a formal first to use mirror images in that way. You know, the human body in motion is already very cinematographic, but in 3D it's all the more cinematographic because you're able to read the space between the dancers. It's not flattened; it's there. And when we envisaged doing this film in 3D, I kind of warned René that I was going to break several of the rules. I mean, I did it's my first 3D film, and believe me, 3D is no picnic. It's not three times more complicated, it's 30 times more complicated. So, to do it, you have to have a good reason. And one of the rules was, don't shoot a 3D film on an even background. Well, I shot on an even black background. Black, no high contrast. There's nothing but high contrast. You'll get ghosting. We didn't get ghosting. So that was very exciting, and the film board is one of the few places where you can go to your producer and say, screw the rules. Let's see if we can get away with this. And that was very exciting. So I don't think that it's, it is state-of-the-art 3D. It's a peculiar type of 3D because we're doing a lot of things that people don't generally do. One thing that I think does work is something that we don't often get when we see dance, other than being in the theater, is you can really perceive the space, the 3D space that is being defined by the choreography. We did the first test screenings with spectators last February, and our biggest worry is that people would not connect with the characters because they would look so different and so odd. And in fact, that wasn't the case, because the computer has not really intervened that much. The camera captures these human bodies, shows us heat, which is there as an organic fact. I mean, it's a fact that it's warmer here and it's warmer there and it's colder there. So somehow our brain says, I've never seen a human body like this before, but it looks okay. And I can dig it. I like these people. I'm going to stick with them. I want to know what happens to them. And you actually identify to the characters. However, because the viewers that are going to see ORA will have never seen the human body look like that before, ever.